And please come to seated. And I just wanted to say something quickly about sitting on something. So if you're seated, of course, if you're on a chair, this is not relevant, but if you're on the ground, then please find something to sit on. No matter how experienced a yogi you are, no matter how flexible you are, this is something that any yoga teacher who knows their stuff will tell you. When you're seated, it's much more comfortable for you to have something under your hips. So a folded blanket, this is a meditation cushion. Sash is on my other meditation cushion, right, Sash? Yeah, have something just tucked just under your bum. And it's actually really helpful because it helps you to kind of tilt your pelvis posteriorly or back so that you get a little tugging in your hamstrings anyway, which is where you want it. So if you haven't been trying that up to now, please take a moment to do that. Find a couch cushion or something if you're sitting on the ground. If you're sitting on your chair, just stay put. Settle your bum into your chair. And take a few breaths in and out through your nose. Begin to turn inward. And as you begin to turn inward, just notice what your tools for this are that we've been going over for the last 3 weeks. Your primary tool is your breath. But there are others, other bodily sort of embodiments of stillness, settling your shoulders, making your pelvis feel very heavy, lifting your chin a little. Firming up your abdominals just a touch, so that you're seated nice and straight. Just because we are relaxed does not mean we are all soft. There are always things that have to be firing. Always things that are moving in the body. If you're sitting up straight, your abs are one of those things. And also the muscles of your back. Just feel around with your breath and your awareness. Notice the coolness of the air as it enters and the warmth of the air as it exits. And when you finished your third soft breath, flutter or sparkle your eyes open. And let's do that same breath that we did yesterday. So we're going to, hey Karthik, we're going to exhale. We're going to do the eye movements, and then we're going to do the head movements, and then we're going to do the breath movements. So we'll do the same progression that we did yesterday, if I can remember. So looking directly at your device first, and then let your gaze slide over to your right. And just hold it there for one breath. Look right. You can see your nose. You can see everything that's over to your right side. Don't turn your head. Keep your head facing your device. And then slide your eyes back through center. And then gently slide them left. And really look left. Look as hard as you can. Try and gather all that visual information that's to the left of you. Is there something on the couch? Can you see the wall? Really actively look left. And the tendency will be to turn your head. Try to resist that tendency. And you'll get all kinds of stretching in and around your eye muscles, your ocular muscles. And then return your gaze to center. And shake out your eyes. So, lifting. Flutter your eyelids, flutter your eyebrows, and cross your eyes, uncross them. Mom can look in 2 different directions. I can't do that. You can sort of point them both out like that. Look wide. And then look to center again. And then this time we are going to inhale our eyes to the right. And then let's just exhale them back through center. Inhale left, eyes to the left. Exhale back through center. See that one more time. Inhale, eyes right. Really look. Exhale, eyes center. Inhale left. Exhale center. And then today let's do up and down. Look up, inhale. Just your eyes. You're looking basically at the underneath of your eyebrows. It looks really funny if you're looking at me. And then exhale them down. Look at your cheeks. Your eyes will kind of cross. One more time. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Return your gaze to center. Now we're going to do the same thing. Remember that counterintuitive thing we did yesterday? Exhale, look right. Take an inhale. Keep your eyes over here. Exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. It's actually even hard to talk and do this stuff. Keep your eyes looking right. Come back. Your head comes back up. Look right. Come back to center. Relax. Look left. Inhale and then exhale. Dip your right ear without changing your gaze. Must be really funny for you guys to be able to see me doing this, because I keep losing my leftward gaze and then come back to center. Let's do that again. A little faster. Inhale to the right. Exhale, drop your ear. Keep looking. You look down at your shoulder. You get all kinds of different muscles. Now you get up the muscle up here. Bring your head back up to center. Keep looking right. And then look center. Inhale, eyes left. Exhale. Keep your gaze left. Drop your left ear. Look at your left shoulder without turning your nose. Keep looking left is the hard part for me. Come up. Release center. Look up, just with your eyes. Inhale. Exhale, drop your chin. Keep looking up. Inhale, lift your head all the way up. Keep looking up. Lift your chin. And now drop your eyes to your cheekbones. Exhale. This one's hard. Inhale, keep looking down. And now drop your eyes. Drop your head. Your eyes are still looking down. Come back to center. Laugh, because that was funny. Okay. Shake out your eyes. Maybe even your jaw. I don't know where you were holding that. I was holding it in my jaw. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Let's practice a tube of toothpaste. We did that a couple of days ago. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. On the exhale, pelvic floor lifts up, all your muscles squeeze, push the breath out of your nose, as if you're squeezing a tube of toothpaste from your pelvis. Abs, pelvis, everything gets tight, very lifted. And then inhale, everything gets soft like a balloon. Feel your pelvic floor go down, feel your ribs go out. And then exhale, toothpaste tube, exhale. Very slowly and regularly, like a toothpaste tube. As if the air was thick, all the way out. Pelvic floor lift up away from the couch and the chair. squeeze your pelvic floor as if you're doing a Kegel exercise, and then release, inhale. And that inhale is just so natural for a while. Just your body inhaling. And then after a while, you have to kick in and bring your diaphragm and your intercostals in and do a little bit of conscious inhale, fill your lungs. And just remember with this breath work, you can do this on your own schedule. You don't have to do it with me. I can't hear you. I can't really see you. This is really just your own work in your own body. Exhale, toothpaste tube. I do have to say inhale and exhale just because, and you can follow me. Please try. You don't have to. Exhale all the way. Empty your toothpaste tube all the way. And then release. A beautiful sensation of the tissues filling up again. Get as big as you can. Last one, balloon and toothpaste tube. Big exhale. Clench your pelvic floor, lift it up. Clench your bum, your glutes, your abs, your rib muscles, muscles of your back, all the way up to your shoulders. You can even bring your shoulders up into the emergency position. Exhale everything out. And then release. And just begin your long, slow breath now. Notice if anything is different. Notice if anything's different in the muscles of your face. Maybe there's some softness, maybe there's a different feeling. For me, when I do the breath work, I get tingling in my lips and my nose. I get a feeling like I have to swallow. Sometimes I have to yawn. And let's just begin the very slowest Sufi grind that you can find. So go all the way over to one side or forward. Make a big, huge circle, biggest one you can possibly do, and just notice everything as you go around. I think I even have some boxes over here to the left of me. I'm kind of running into them. See if you can go all the way back. Exhale back. To the side. And let's do one to the other side. So if you get back where you started, try one to the other side. Really big as you can. And then when you get back to where you started, then you can start going a little faster. So start to speed it up, close your eyes, make these nice big round circles. So today we're going to think about Sufi grind because we've had a request for hips. We're going to think about Sufi grind in your hips. So imagine, as Siobhan said, it's a sushi bowl. I love that image. Imagine it's a sushi bowl and it's full of, I don't know, water or miso soup. Miso soup. Imagine it's full of miso soup and you're twirling that bowl around and you're kind of making the water or the miso soup fly out in an even circle around. If you like, you can bring your hands, bring your fingers to your inguinal crease here, which is basically your bikini line, and you'll feel your hips squishing into your hands as you go around, and it really helps you bring the sensation into your hips. If you have sensitive hips here, or if your hips are sensitive today, you might just want to keep this slow, but it's still really good to explore, especially in those inguinal creases. That's where your femur comes into your pelvis. And then switch directions. And notice, especially if your fingers are in your inguinal crease, you might feel something different today. You might feel popping, cracking, or lots of different possibilities here. And just notice that this is different. When we work the upper body and we do Sufi grind, I'm just totally gonna make that mistake in class from now on. We can concentrate on the shoulders. So watch the difference. When I do a shoulder one, see how my shoulders are moving, my hands are on my legs, and I'm really moving my shoulders. But if you're concentrating on your hips, your hands can be back on your hips, and you're just moving that bowl of your pelvis around. This is how in chair yoga you can actually work things without actually doing a standing practice. That's why this works. It's a real awareness. Come back to center, and then we're going to do seated cat-cow with the same awareness. Now you're pouring your miso soup forward, and then you're pouring it back. You're spilling it into your lap, and then you're spilling it behind you. And it's the same motion. You're pulling your chest forward, and then you're pulling your belly button back. But we're thinking more about our hips today, and we'll continue to think about our hips. Last breath. And just do a couple more Sufi grinds. Just see if your cat-cow changed anything. Do a couple, the real emphasis in your hips. I'm going to move back to the couch now. Now, if you're on a chair, come forward to the edge of your chair. Bring your hands to your hips. If you're seated, you can do the same. Or I would recommend if you're seated and you want to get the full benefits, you might want to stand up for this. If you're on the couch, you might want to stand up as well. Bring your hands to your hips. And we're just going to move the basin of our pelvis. Bend your knees a little bit and pull your pelvis forward and push it back. And you can totally do this sitting down, same thing. It's basically a cat-cow, but it'll feel a little bit different if you're standing up. So take a few more and see if you can find your max. So bend your knees for sure. Knees need to be bent here. Push your pelvis forward, round your spine. Get a real sensation here. Your psoas muscles are just under there. And then stick your bum back. This is like gymnast back or skater, figure skater's back. Push your pelvis forward. Last one. Push it forward. Push, 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 push with your toes. And then pull back. If you have a sensitive low back, you may not want to do this super lordosis pose here. And then come back to center. And then we're going to do some little hip circles here. So do the first one small, just small. Just feeling, close your eyes. Feet are hip width apart. Toes are pointed towards the device in front of you. If you want to flip your toes out to 45 degrees, maybe we'll do a little of both of that. So point your toes forward for now. Feels different. Switch directions, and you can make this movement bigger. This movement can get really big if you like. Come almost into a forward fold. Just play with your own physiology here. And go both ways. I like to inhale back and exhale into the forward fold. If you're doing a small circle, you can just keep the breath long. Knees are not bent here. They're micro bent, just a tiny little bend. But they're not bent the way they were when we were doing this. And now find your way to center. And we're going to stick our hips out to the right. If you're seated, you want to stay seated, do a side bend to the left. If you're standing up, push your hips out to the right. Oh, I forgot to turn our feet out 45 degrees. It's okay. Push your hips out to the right, really push. You should have some sensation here around your hip points, your right hip point in particular. And then other side. And you know how I talk all the time about being firm in the abs, like when we're doing this one? Same thing applies here. Firmness in the abs. You can even put a hand on your belly. But you should be able to get a long stretching sensation here. Take a few each side. If you're seated, take a stretch to the other side. Side stretch to the right side. And then take a few more rounds, just rolling both ways. You can do Sufi grind if you're seated. And then come to seated. Stand up if you want to do the sun salutes. Sun salutes are amazing for your hips. Probably the best thing, because you do get a lot of this hip hinging. So if you're seated, if you're new and you're just joining us, if you're seated, you can extend your legs for more sensation. You can keep your legs bent for a little less sensation if you're just beginning. Or you can stand up and do it standing up. You can watch my sister or Karina, or there's a couple of people that are doing a standing up version, and I will talk you through the standing up version as well. So let's inhale our arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hip hinge. Muscles of your belly, bring your spine up, and then exhale, hip hinge again. Inhale, right knee comes in, or step back into a lunge with your right leg back, and then exhale, fold your forehead towards your right knee. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, downward facing dog or neutral spine. Inhale, cow pose. Upward facing dog if you're standing. Take your time with these, especially the first time through. Exhale back. Remember that miso soup bowl of your pelvis. Now left leg is going to move here, but if you're standing, your right leg moves back. Bring your left knee in and then exhale, forehead towards your knee, crunch up like a snail. Inhale, long spine. Use your arm muscles to create that long spine. And then exhale, forward fold. Hip hinging again. And if you want to bring the awareness into the hips, you can bring your hands to your inguinal creases again. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up. Exhale, neutral. Let's do the other side where the left leg moves first. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hip hinge, half lift. Spine is parallel to the floor or just as long as you can get it if you're seated, and exhale, fold. This time left leg goes back if you're standing or in if you're seated. Pull it in. Straighten your spine as long as you can. And then exhale, curl in like a little snail. Round your back. And then inhale, neutral. Downward facing dog if you're standing. And exhale, inhale. Cow pose, upward facing dog. Big cow pose. Miso soup is pouring forward. Exhale, cat pose. Miso soup pours backwards. And then inhale. I think I screwed up the breath on that one. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, long spine. Hip hinge, here we go. Inhale, up. Exhale, neutral. Let's do one more round. We'll go a little faster. Spread your legs a little bit. We're going to get a little more hip action here. And point your toes out. If you're on the ground, splay your toes open. If you're standing, you can spread your legs to hip width apart if you like. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Feel if that forward fold feels any different. If you can go a little lower. Inhale, flat spine. Inhale, long spine. Crown of your head moves forward as if I'm pulling on my own ponytail here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right knee comes in or back. Exhale, round down, drop into your lunge if you're doing a standing version. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, neutral, push back, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow pose. Bring your chest forward between your knees. Use your hands on your knees, use your muscle, upward facing dog. Exhale, cat pose. Again, use your muscle. Use your abs here. Inhale, left knee in or step your right foot back into the lunge. Inhale, exhale, round. Inhale, long spine. Elongate your spine, squeeze your knee in. And exhale, forward fold. Remember, your legs are spread a little bit here. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. And you feel that in your inner legs. Inhale, up. Exhale, neutral. That's half of a sun salute. Here we go, other side. Left leg moves first this time. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, fold. Keep your motions long and your breath long. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left knee comes in. Exhale, curl up. Left knee is back if you're standing. You're in a lunge. Inhale, long spine. Drop into your lunge. Exhale, downward facing dog or neutral. Grab your knees. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, back. Downward facing dog again. Cat pose. Right knee comes into your chest. You can still keep your right foot facing out a little bit. Exhale, curl your forehead into your knee. Drop into your lunge if you're standing. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Extend your legs if you can and forward fold. Bring your hands to your knees. Inhale, long spine. Last one. And now we're going to spread our legs as far apart as we can. And exhale, fold. Take a few breaths here. So you might be up here, your hands might be on your shins for support. Take some breaths. As long as you're feeling sensation in your inner thighs, all around your hips, you're good. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Get solid on the couch, and I don't know if you can see my feet, but my feet are flexed. That gives me a bit of a deeper stretch all along the back of the fascia of my legs. That's the superficial back line, if anybody's interested in that stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I teach. One more inhale, exhale. And now, during this inhale, exhale, actually, let's do 3 more. Come halfway up, everybody, so we're not in a full forward fold. Bring your hands onto your thighs or your shins or whatever works. So if you're standing, you're in wide-legged forward fold like this. If you're seated, you're like this. Oops, I just moved my couch. Take a couple of breaths. And then we're going to start to wiggle our hips. So just wiggle that sushi bowl as if you're like walking it forward on the table. So what we're doing here is we're moving our femurs inside of our pelvis. So the femur is a ball and socket joint, really big joint, has a big head on it, like a turkey bone. And it's safely encased in our pelvis, and it's surrounded by all kinds of connective tissue and muscle. And that's really important because our hips are a really important joint for running, for catching our food and running away so that we don't become food. And of course, we don't use those anymore. Keep wiggling. hips back and forth. You might feel a little fatigue in the glutes. So we don't use those anymore. We just sit now. And so that's why the hips, that's why we have so many troubles with our hips. Well, that and lots of other reasons are inflammatory diet and so on. Okay, bring the soles of your feet together, whether you're seated. If you're standing, you can come down to the ground and come into butterfly stretch. If you're on the couch, bring the soles of your feet together if you can. If you can't, just get them as close together as you can. We're going to do a butterfly stretch here. So fold forward over the diamond of your legs. On the chair here, I have the outside edges of my feet, those outside blades of my feet on the floor. My hands are on my legs just to make sure I don't go over too far, and take a couple of breaths. So you should get sensation all around your hips when you do that. Last big breath. Come on up nice and slow. If you're on the ground, push back into downward facing dog and take a few wiggles in your hips. That looks like this. So you walk out your feet and wiggle your bum. If you're on the couch, we're going back to that wiggling thing. And then we're going to move into Warrior Two. Warrior Two is really a hip pose. So if you're standing, work your way up to standing, jump forward into a forward fold, and then work your way up to standing. And we're going to come into Warrior Two. But we're going to come in a very specific way if you're on the couch. If you're just standing, you just open your legs, step back 3 or 4 feet, and come into Warrior Two. But if we're on the couch, spread your legs wide, and then bring your right leg around and up and place it back against the couch. And then your left leg gets as straight as you can here. So you can see how this is a hip pose. I'm very open here. And then inhale your arms up. We're not going to focus on the arms very much today. We're just going to focus on the hips. So you can even bring your hands to your inguinal creases if you like, again, or to your shoulders. And just shift back and forth. We're going to shift our torso back and forth, and you're going to feel this in your hips. Same thing if you're standing. If you're standing, it looks like this. You can bring your hands to your hips or your torso or your inguinal crease. Just shift back and forth with your upper body. You can also do this with your hands extended, and you will feel this in both inguinal creases. One last breath here, shifting back and forth. And then we're going to come to Goddess. So if you're standing up, come to Goddess like this. If you're on the couch, come to Goddess like this. And just take a resting breath. This will not be resting if you're standing up. Take a breath. Now if you're on the couch, remember your left leg comes up and over, and you just do like a leg circle here. You can do a couple. You can do a couple extra ones. If you're standing, flip your other toe, so you're facing in the other direction. And if you're on the couch, bring your left knee against the couch, straighten your right, come into Warrior Two, wiggle your bum a little bit off the chair, and then find your supported position here, and then begin your little wiggle back and forth. And remember, it can look like this, or like this, or like this. Just tiny wiggle, very small. Hip area, although the muscles around your hips can be very flexible, like your hamstrings and your quads, they can be very flexible and long, but in general, unless you're hyper flexible, like Siobhan, you won't have much movement in all of these tissues around the hips. Your hips are very tightly connected with connective tissue, just because of what I just talked about. We need to be able, when we're running from our prey, running towards our prey or running away from the woolly mammoth, we didn't want our hips to dislocate. That was really important evolutionarily. So that's why one of the reasons our hips are so tight. So this is not a big movement, just a little 2 inches, maybe less. Last breath, and then we're gonna come back into goddess. So we're really working the hips today. Come into goddess, push your knees open. If you're standing, we're gonna do this thing that we did with the shoulders, dipping one shoulder and then dipping the other. And if you're seated, same thing. See if you can go deeply enough that you feel that in your hips. And now forward fold. So extend your legs out front if you're on the couch. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your body over towards your left leg. Grab onto your left leg wherever you can, whether it's up here or whether it's down here, same benefits. Exhale, pull your body towards your left leg. Pull your chest towards the top of your left thigh. Take a few breaths. Gently release that left leg and then begin to work your fingers towards your right leg. Grab onto your right leg, turn your chest so that it faces your right leg, and then pull your torso towards it. Take some deep breaths here. LSD, long, slow, and deep. Gently come back up through center. If you're standing, you can come to the ground now. Work your way to seated. I pulled a rookie mistake and I don't have my phone. I gotta check the time up here. Perfect. Okay. And I did promise that we would do sexy jellyfish. So we are going to do sexy jellyfish with a bit of hips. So grab your right knee, bring it up. So if you're on the floor, you can be lying down for this, much more comfortable. So lie down, grab your right knee, make some circles with it in the air. So just put your hands on your right knee, make some circles. Go in both directions. See if you can, if you're seated and if you're on the ground, this is really great to do on the ground. Make your leg like a noodle. See if you can find your full range of movement. It's a little harder to do if you're seated, but see if you can find tugging around your hip here. And just juice up that hip joint, and then we're going to switch arms, switch legs. So take a couple of rotations in each direction. And then we're going to come into sexy jellyfish. Now remember, there's a half sexy jellyfish. So half sexy jellyfish is your arms in the air, your left foot is on the floor, and we're back a little bit so that you can feel some tugging in your abs, but we're like a jellyfish, leaning back in your chair or on your couch, become like the jellyfish. If you're sitting up, you look like this, and you can also do this on the couch. Random movement, tentacles, like jellyfish. If you're doing one side here, you can switch sides now and do the left side. In some ways, I actually think it's more difficult to do one leg at a time on the couch. The balance is a little more difficult on the couch. Last breath. Spread your legs in front of you and exhale, take a forward fold. Take a rest here. Soften your belly. Feel the work that you've done. And now we're going to come up into boat pose. So if you're on the floor, boat pose looks like this. If you're on the couch, boat pose can also look like this. I'm grabbing onto my legs. My shins are parallel to the floor. And if you want to move a little bit in boat pose, you can, just like on your breath. Just little pulses. Couple more. Remember Manipura here, especially with ab work. Keep going, couple more breaths. And then forward fold. Extend your legs and exhale, forward fold. Take a big breath. Soften your belly. Okay, bow pose. Sorry, I didn't show the variation, the one-legged variation last time. The one-legged variation for bow pose is here. Take your third bow pose. Lean back a little bit. One-legged is up here. Two-legged is here. If you're doing one-legged, switch now. Lift your chest towards the ceiling for the last big breath. Lift your chest. Lift, 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 lift. And then exhale, final forward fold. Take a full breath. Begin to work your way down to the floor if you are lying down, if you're sitting down, if you are on the couch, you may, or a chair, you may want to push your way back a little. Your knees are supported. And again, like we did at the beginning, find your center with your breath. If it helps to say inhale silently, inhale. Exhale. You can just repeat that in your own head. That'll stop you from thinking about other things for a while. Notice any tension in your body as you breathe. And release the tension in your toes, ankles, knees, upper leg. How soft can you make your low body here? Make it really soft, almost like jello. And you use your exhale to do that. Exhale, release your pelvis. There should be lots of echoes of sensation around your pelvis now. Use those echoes. Use that sensation to release. Soften the muscles of your belly. All those layers of muscle. Just get them really soft. Soften the muscles around your ribs. Soften your shoulder head. Can you draw them back a little and then soften and release them down? Soften the muscles of your neck. Notice if you need to swallow. Make your jaw very soft. Relax the muscles around your lips. Let the muscles of your cheekbones sag. Smooth your forehead. Inhale, cool air. Exhale, warm air. And repeat that. Inhale. Exhale. And next time you feel warm air exit, on your next inhale, that cool air coming in, lengthen that cool breath. And let that go all the way down to your fingertips and your toe tips and just start to wiggle them. Let the muscles of your body begin to wake up. Return here to this room, to this body. Let your face sparkle up again, your cheekbones lift, your eyes flutter open. And see if your breath can just draw you up a little. Feel that perfect posture. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I hope you feel that in your hips in a good way. You probably think of me tonight. I know that I can feel it in my hips. This is gentle and subtle work, but I really am appreciative of those of you that are really doing this consistently. It's changed my breath and my body as well to do it consistently. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nikki.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Hi, Peggy.
Hi.
Peggy. I see
Peggy.
Peggy.
You can see Peggy's photo? No way.
I see Peggy.
Oh my God, where are you,
I see
Peggy?
Katja.
Wait, I can't see Peggy. Oh, I see Peggy. Oh my God.
So nice to
Bye.
see you, Peggy.
Bye,
Look
Marcia.
forward to- Yay.
Bye, bye, Bryce.
And I have a,
Bye.
I have a quilt that Diane made.
Oh my God. Wow, that's so
Yay.
cool.
I have a lot
Oh
of
my
things.
Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Have a good Saturday.
See you tomorrow,
Thank
guys.
you.
Happy